Hawaii Medicaid program has received billions and billions of dollars from the federal taxpayers. And of course, Hawaii taxpayers have paid in a lot of money into this program over the last years as well. Guess how many convictions or indictments has Hawaii had over the last few years in its Medicaid fraud program? The answer is zero. Not a single indictment, not a single conviction, because the administrators of the Hawaii program just don't take it seriously. They don't think that fraud is a big enough problem. They don't care about protecting resources. They don't care about protecting that Medicaid program. So what does that mean? That means that if you're committing fraud in Medicaid in Hawaii, at least up until now, hopefully now they're going to take it seriously, you have had effectively free reign from the government of Hawaii to commit as much fraud as you want. That is a complete disgrace.
I'm sick and tired of this motherfucking administration mischaracterizing and sensationalizing everything. So much of what JD Vance is saying is either incorrect or it is intentionally misleading. For example, one of his chief grievances here is that Hawaii's Medicaid Fraud Control Unit hasn't had any convictions or indictments. But he conveniently leaves out the fact that Hawaii has indeed pursued legal recourse in some instances through the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit. Also notice that JD Vance doesn't talk about the definition of fraud when it comes to Medicaid. The Medicaid Fraud Control Units, they're only allowed to investigate providers. You know who they cannot investigate is people who receive Medicaid benefits. So what does this mean? Medicaid Fraud Control Units can only investigate doctors, clinics, pharmacies, care homes. They cannot investigate individuals who have Medicaid benefits. The vast majority of what is considered Medicaid fraud is actually being committed by providers. But the truth is, it's not actually fraud. Most of the times, it's administrative errors. It has to do with paperwork, documentation, and it's rooted in improper billing, and improper billing is not a measure of fraud. What it is a measure of is statutory and programmatic compliance, and being non-compliant is not necessarily fraud. Sometimes it's just fucking mistakes. You want to know the truth about Medicaid? It doesn't reimburse shit. Nobody's getting rich off of Medicaid schemes. Medicaid reimburses at such a low rate that literally no clinic can survive off of Medicaid reimbursements. And on top of that, you have all of these administrative requirements that require teams that nobody can afford to pay. So if you're putting pressure on the Medicaid fraud control units to identify more cases of improper billing, all you're doing is going after people who don't have the capacity to catch their own mistakes before they submit bills. But JD Vance and Donald Trump, that whole administration, are doing exactly what they intend to do. They're relying on your biases to undermine the program instead of leveraging its power to bring down the cost of healthcare in general. We could absolutely solve all of this with single-payer healthcare, but no, everybody is so invested in having private payers. Everybody want to be upset about fraud, except none of them can agree on what fraud actually is.